Welcome to the Top Dog Mindset Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of running a successful dog training business. I'm your host, Kevin, joined by my co-host, Angel. Together, we bring you expert insights, inspiring stories, and practical tips. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to provide you with the necessary information to build a thriving dog training company. So relax, join us with a cup of coffee as we explore the Top Dog Mindset Podcast. All right, welcome in everybody. Kevin and Angel here doing our second podcast of the day just because I was traveling last week and we didn't get a chance to record. So we're trying to eat our own dog food here, so to speak, and, have the mental grit and discipline that we talked about in the last episode and actually push through and do this. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about something in this episode that I think is really helpful and something that I've seen be very beneficial to me over the years. And that is this quote that I always think about in business and I've heard many times, which is simplicity scales, complexity fails. And so what I mean by that is in 2025, with all the options available to us with social media platforms and websites that are really nicely designed and just the litany of things that I'll go through in a second here. But a lot of times as a dog training business owner, you can feel like, where do I even start? This is like, I'm looking at all these other companies that have really high production content and I have nothing, or they have a really nice website, I have nothing, and feel like you need to start doing all of that day one to start being competitive. But the truth is you don't. And so I think that's something that makes us really special here at Top Dog Advertising. I was just talking to a lead yesterday who I have a sales call with early next week, which she said, what do you feel like makes you different from other marketing agencies or different just tactics out there? And I said, I think the main thing is we've really boiled this down to a science, to the point of if you do what we ask you to do and we implement the marketing that we implement for all of our clients, I've never really seen it not work. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, there can be instances out there of it's just, one-off situations and stuff like that. But the truth is what I think really works well for dog training businesses, that is just the simplicity that I was referencing before, a consistent way to generate leads. So the mechanism that we use to do that is Google Ads, right? From there, we send the traffic to a high converting landing page that we build for all of our clients, and we test it and stuff like that. So we get leads coming in. Once that lead is there, your entire goal should just be get them on an initial phone call just to warm them up, talk to them, smile at them through the phone. And then from there, you set the consultation, and that's where you go and close them. So I think a lot of times people start feeling okay, I need to have these links where I can just, automatically send it to them and they sign up for consultations directly from that link, or they have a link on my website, or I have this video sales letter that warms them up and stuff like that. Or I have to have them watch all this content, or they need to sign these documents before they meet with me, or any variety of things. And to me, what I always think about is, especially in the beginning, or not even necessarily in the beginning, just if you're in a place where you're slow right now, make it as simple as possible. Make it as easy as possible for people to say yes to you. So get leads, set consultations, make sales. So obviously there's more stuff that goes into that. That's an oversimplification. But Angel, what are your thoughts on that and kind of what I'm talking about here?
Yeah, I feel like that is the most obvious part of it all, is if you're wanting to start a dog training business and make money from it, first thing is just simply prioritize the people who are actually calling, wanting the help.
Yeah.
And like you said, make it as simple as possible for them to reach out for that help too. So having a bunch of automations, or automations are great. And I think it's still evolving, but that is kind of that's kind of a backup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make it as simple as possible for people to get the help, or at least to get the information, you know what I mean? Versus them having to, or let's say a call comes in and you intentionally ignore it. People do that, intentionally ignore it, just so that way they can text them and immediately send them the information and the price, or make them go to this link and then that link. And then, you have to fill out these 5 forms, and then you have to pay for the consultation because I think there's this mindset from a lot of people where it's well, if they can't afford the consultation, they're not going to be able to afford training. They just need to be able to trust that paying for the consultation is going to be worth their while,
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
really what
totally.
it comes down to.
You know what's so funny about that? When you think about that, like think about what you're saying to that client in that or that lead in that moment. It's like they call you, you give them the option to call you on your website, right? And then they call you and you ignore it and immediately text them. So it's like, hey, call me. Actually, I don't want to talk to you on the phone. I'm just going to text you.
Hmm.
So it's like your first interaction with them is just kind of like based in a non-truth almost. It's like speak to a dog trainer or free consultation, and then they call you and you just don't talk to them, you know?
Yeah.
It's just an interesting thing to think about. But I wrote down a bunch of things here that I thought might be helpful as far as like things that people feel like they need to do in order to kind of be competitive. So building a super fancy website, posting on social media multiple times every single day, spending hours making professional looking videos, offering every service under the sun. So being like, I'm doing board and trains, private lessons, group classes, service dog training, therapy dog training, day training, online training. I'm going to make a course. Like have one or two core offers and scale that. Like you can grow a 6-figure a month business if you just literally offer private training and board and trains.
Hmm.
Build the complex automations and go high level. That's exactly what we're talking about, right? Building an online course before booking out in person. This is an interesting one. Like the obsession of making passive income on a course online before you've ever mastered making active income. Like I've said that. I heard Alex Hormozy say that one time, and that always stuck with me. Like people that are so obsessed with passive income but have zero active income. It's like that
Hmm.
is the most laughable thing in the world. Just focus on making some money, build some credibility, and then go into, the whole online space if you still want to do that. But the reason I think it's so laughable is because there's already so many talented dog trainers out there. Like people that are the biggest names in the industry that are, selling these courses and they have these massive followings. And so the idea that you're just going to create a course and be like, I'll just toss it up on Facebook and people are going to want to buy it, like you're going to have a much harder time doing that than if you just try and focus on building like a local presence, getting clients, really building up your reputation and building that simultaneously. Like, listen, I'm not trying to come across and tell you don't do it. I think it's a good way to make money, but I'll just tell you this right now. It is way easier to become successful in dog training, only having to compete with like the 3 to 5 other dog trainers in your immediate area than the 1,000 dog trainers that are trying to sell courses online and are trying to buy traffic on Meta and
Hmm.
Google and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, and not to mention, like, that's just another project that you have to do that's going to take up more of your time, that's going to take time away from you being able to actually nurture the leads from people who are literally calling you directly saying, hey, I need help. I need you to help me with this thing.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, I can't nurture leads. I can't answer the phone. I can't call these people back. I can't do this or that because I'm too busy, but you're too busy with all of these other projects.
Yeah, I'm too busy recording videos to try and sell a $100 online course versus taking your dog in for a $4,000 board and train, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
Here's another one, worrying about SEO, hashtags, and perfect branding, right? So, like, not putting content out just because you're like, it's not perfect yet. Hiring a VA too soon to try and do your sales for you. Like, that's a big one, too, that we've seen, where it's just like, I don't want to do this, just like hire this person and they'll do it. It's like, it is the entire motor for your business. It's what drives everything. It is such a short sighted decision to just give that up and just assume that anybody can close, anybody can sell. So, the next
Yeah.
thing here is trying to go viral instead of trying to go local. So they spend energy just chasing views. I follow this guy, Ravi, who's a really successful entrepreneur, and he's in the online coaching space. And he always talks about this. He's like, my views don't get a million. They don't get a million views. I'm not trying to be Mr. Beast. What I'm trying to be is like speak to my ideal clients. And so, yeah, it's less views, but the people who are watching it, it's speaking to the actual people I want to reach.
Hmm.
The last thing here is like using big brand language instead of talking like a human, right? So yeah, like here's an example that when I was like listing this out. So like our mission is to evaluate the canine human bond through bespoke behavior modification protocols, right? Instead of just being like we help people fix their dog's bad behavior fast, right? So people like feeling like they're talking to a real human that's the edge that you have over your competition. Is like you're not a big box retailer. You're not this corporate chain that has like shareholders to answer to and stuff like that. Like you can run your business in a more lean way where like it's more fun for people to work with you.
Exactly. And I feel like people want to get big so quickly without realizing like these people who are calling you, like they genuinely would prefer to speak to an actual human being. Like that, doing that alone is setting you apart from other companies. The
Yeah.
fact that they get such like a personalized experience and being able to talk to not only an actual human being on the phone, but in most cases, like speaking to the actual business owner when they call, the business owner answers the phone
Yeah.
and tells them right away, like, yeah, we can help you. Let's get a consult schedule. And then they come in person to your home and put together a custom training plan.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like such a wild concept to some people and sounds like so time consuming and you're not getting paid for it and stuff like that. Like, people love that.
Yeah.
That's what's setting
Absolutely.
you apart from someone else who has, there's nothing wrong with having VAs to answer the phone. Like, we actually encourage that if you're struggling to answer the phone, but it's just such a better experience than having, another person who isn't the owner answering the phone or another person who can't really answer any questions about what they're looking for. And then, just trying to sell them on a $4,000 package over the phone. And it's like, well, who are you? Who's training my dog? Like, what do you look like? How do I know your personality? How do I, you know, people are just expecting like, oh, $4,000, here it is. You know what I mean? It's just not realistic.
Yeah, like okay, so two things. The first being if you're gonna hire somebody to answer your phone, train them. Like that's it. That's the thing is like the amount of people I've seen do that, they're like they just one day wake up and realize they're not busy anymore and the salesperson isn't doing their job and then they're like they have to like they call them and they start getting angry with them. I'm like, you never trained them. Like
Mm-hmm.
would you hire somebody and just be like, hey, go train this dog, do a 4 week board and train, and then like at the end of the 4 weeks, go check in and be like, the dog's not trained. It's like, yeah, I'm not a trained dog trainer. They're not a trained salesperson. They need to be
Yeah.
trained.
Yeah.
And
And
so
we
like,
talk,
yeah,
sorry, I was gonna say, like, we talk so much about, like, imagine if this was like a big corporate business. Like, people hire for like appointment setting and then they hire for like a specific sales role and this and that. Imagine if you did have like that huge multi-million-dollar corporate business and you had people for each of those roles. If you got to a point in your business where sales were slow or whatever it is, are you going to go to your marketing company and be like, all of these leads are shit, I'm not making any money? Or are you going to be like, let me figure out like what's going wrong. Let me go talk to the salesperson and reevaluate their process, or let me listen to the appointment setter's phone calls and see what's going on with their conversations. Why aren't consults being scheduled? You're literally gonna like reevaluate every single one of your employees. That's no
yeah,
different than you running your business by yourself. Reevaluate yourself as the person who answers the phone. Do you sound like nice and welcoming when you're talking on the phone? Evaluate how you are setting consultations. How are you in sales? Handle it just the way you would if you had a giant team who you are hiring for every single one of these positions.
exactly. And then the other thing that you said before, it's just something that I feel like this is a common theme that's been we've been discussing on calls like this and just with clients and even just amongst ourselves and internally in our company. Who is calling anybody and within like 5 minutes buying something for 4 grand? I think I said this a couple of weeks ago on
I
a call.
never
It's like,
would.
you're going to have a real hard time in 5 minutes getting $50 out of me.
Yeah.
But like, if you think about it, like in terms of that with just think about your own business and think about like the way that you would interact. Like, think about you have to get a new roof on your house or something like that. And you call a roofing company and they say it's going to be 10 grand. You'd be like, yeah, I need to call some other people.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, people do this in their business where they get calls that come in and they talk to them and within 5 minutes they feel like okay like they feel like a good fit for me, so I'm going to tell them the price now. It's like never going to work. I
Yeah.
shouldn't say never. I should say like everyone. Here's the problem: every once in a while it does work because that person was just so fed up with their dog's behavior. They've probably researched board and train programs. They've probably heard from other people board and trains are a good thing to do, and they're like cool. But the problem with that is it gives you an illusion that that's how it works. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Yeah, I might have told this story, but I signed my dogs went through one of them has passed since then, but at the time I had two dogs. They both went through a board and train about 13 years ago at this point. When I was calling around looking for training, I remember I really only spoke to two companies. The first person that I called, I asked about, I was one of those people where first thing I asked about was pricing. I didn't ask any other questions. I didn't tell them anything that was going on with my dogs because I didn't know what to say. I just thought training is training. I need training. How much is it? They gave me a price over the phone and they said it starts at about $500. And I don't even know that I said bye to that man. I hung up so quickly. I'm like, $500? Like, you're fucking joking. I called another place. They did not give me pricing over the phone. And I swear, this is an actual true story.
Yeah.
And I asked for pricing and they couldn't give it to me because they needed to know what was going on. They came out for an in-person consultation. Granted, the consultation wasn't that great based on what I know now. But, and I also didn't end up signing up for the board and train until about 5 months after the consultation. And I remember how much it was, but it was maybe around like $2,000 to $3,000 for a 2-week board and train per dog.
Yeah.
And I signed up for them, or signed up with them.
Yeah.
But the first person I spoke to, $500 for training, like that's so much cheaper than what I actually paid. But I heard that price over the phone, which is not a lot at all for training. And I was like, these people are crazy. But I still paid around like $5,000. At the time, it was a lot cheaper than what it is now. About $5,000 for 2 board and trains. And that's what I signed up for. Like, that just goes to show why you should not be giving prices over the phone and why you need to spend like actual one-on-one time with these people.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and we a dog trainer who he was talking about how he signed up to work with a company that was going to like they do sales over the phone and they handle all your leads and stuff like that. And you know they said I think that they could guarantee a certain amount of closes and stuff like that. And he's like, dude, they didn't close a single person for months. They didn't close a single person.
Not surprising.
And this is like what this company does explicitly, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, then we started doing in-person consults again. And like, we're like busier than like we've ever been. And so, you know, the reason we talk about this so much is like, I really try and keep things simple for our clients. You know, there's different things that you could do. And like, you know, you could get calls that come in and then you know, just text that person and you text them like a booking link and maybe they do it. But before they have to book that call, they have to watch your 15-minute video sales letter talking about how great you are as a company and how you've, you know, done all this stuff to like, you know, save all these dogs' lives and transform like relationships and stuff like that. And then before, you know, they get on the call with you, you like check in with them to make sure they're not going to ghost you. And then you do that and they don't buy, but you have a really good email follow-up sequence and stuff like that. And it's like, you're able to squeeze out a 35% conversion rate. And that's good for doing it over the phone. Right? Mm-hmm. Or you just get leads and you talk to them and you say, I'll come out tomorrow, and you go home with the dog and like $4,000 in hand.
Yeah.
Like there's this weird obsession that I see with people, and I've had my own version of this. Like there's got to be an easier way to do it. But that's why I come back to that saying of like simplicity scales, complexity fails. It's like you try and make it overcomplicated. Guess who starts feeling like it's complicated? The person who's being sold to. And they're like, can I just talk to somebody? Can somebody just like tell me how to fix my dog's behaviors? Can you help me? It's like there's all these different little things that just like, you know, just make it more difficult for people to say yes. And I think that like I've said this before, but I think it's worth repeating. I really am willing to bet that like the further we move into this time of AI and everything is automated and talking to a machine, the more people are going to really start craving talking to actual human beings. I'm not saying don't use AI. We use AI all the time in our business, and you know, it's a great tool. It's not exactly that. It's a tool. It's not a replacement for you. You know?
Yeah, and like this kind of stuff is so normalized in like other things that even we see with like other businesses or like ads online, like, oh, that looks cool, let me press this button to get some more information. And like especially for me, like I get very impatient with this stuff where I'm like wanting more information, but it's like, okay, fill out this form, and then okay, you filled it out. Once you submit it, check your email because we're going to send you something else. Create your login information, and then you can go here, and then you can do that. And there just gets to a point where I'm like, fuck it, I don't want the information anymore.
Yeah.
And that also explains why we are very strategic about the way that we have like our landing pages built out and like the contact forms. Even to get your leads, they're not having to answer a million questions. It's very, very basic, and we do that for a reason. But then imagine having to like fill out a contact form and then like another form and then another form and then another form. Like if that was me, I'd be like, I don't even care anymore. I'm too lazy for this. Too
Yeah.
much work.
And then to just finally have an email arrive in your inbox and it's like, our 2 week board and train is $2,500. Our 4 week
Yeah.
board and train is $4,500. And it's like, that's a lot of money. I'm not
Yeah.
going to, I looked at this, I glanced at it, I saw the number and I'm ghosting this company and they're going to try and follow me. I'm never talking to them again.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating. Like the amount of people that I over the years have signed up who have turned out to be amazing clients who are with us 4 years later. And the first thing that they said to me is like, I can't spend more than $200. A lot of times people will take that at face value and go like, oh, they're going to be a tire kicker. They can't afford this. And it's like, no, like they're telling you that because they have some arbitrary idea of what it should cost. But that to me is completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
And I think that the most important thing I really want everybody to understand, like we talk so much about sales here, and I think that the mindset that we should all really develop is like try and turn yourself into a good salesperson. By good salesperson, I don't mean somebody who's like scammy. I mean somebody who can like really guide somebody into a good decision that's going to really help them and help them grow in their relationship with their dog and change their life forever in the best way possible, right? Because if you can do that and become that type of person, you're going to see people who tell you that I only have a budget of $500, but all of a sudden when you tell them like and you show them, hey, this program is what's going to be best for you. I know you feel like this is what you need, but this is what you actually need. All of a sudden they start finding more money to pay you for $4,000 for a 4 week program. And every once in a
Exactly.
while, like you're going to get tire kickers. You're going to get people who don't pay for it. It's like, okay, next, moving on. Like that's the mindset you need to have. It's like, I'm not going to get bogged down and be like, that person wasted my time. It's like, it's the wrong way of looking at it. The way you need to look at it is, I need to do a certain amount of these to get a certain amount of no's and to get a certain amount of yeses. Every single no that you get is one no closer to a yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything you want to add there?
Well, I had a thought actually. So, and this is something that you deal with too, like getting on your discovery calls and sales calls and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
is like people even in, okay, dog training business owners looking for a marketing company, right? They probably go into that too with like, this is how much I'm looking to spend. I only have the budget to spend
All the time.
$800. Yep.
All the
And
time.
then you get on calls with them and you talk to them through that and explain it and explain the value and why it's important to have this and why it's important to have that and how when these leads come in you're going to handle it this way and it's going to turn into thousands of dollars worth of sales, and then they start realizing like, okay, that makes sense, and then their budget automatically or magically starts changing in their mind.
Yeah.
That's the same thing, like people have this thought of like, I can only afford $80 lessons, and I think 4 lessons will do the trick. That'll be enough to teach my dog to sit and down and walk nice on a leash. But then you meet up with the trainer, they explain to you that's actually not what you need. This is a better option. Maybe this $4,000 and train is a better option, and here's why. And then all of a sudden their priorities and their budget and this and that start changing because they realize the value and they realize like what is realistic for them.
Exactly. Yeah. This all for me comes back to like try and keep it as simple as possible. Do not overcomplicate this. Get leads, set consultations, make sales. And then here's what's going to happen. You're going to start getting busy and you're going to start telling yourself, I don't have time to go and do as many consultations. And then you end up on this roller coaster ride of, I was busy because I was doing a lot of consultations and making a lot of sales, but now I'm not because I'm just busy training dogs. So now I'm not busy anymore. So I have time to do consultations. And it's just like this constant up and down. So what you're going to want to do is like, here's the simplest way to grow a 6-figure dog training business. First off, you can grow it to 6 figures yourself, but if you want to grow up multiple 6 figures or a 7-figure dog training business, get leads, We recommend Google. Obviously, we could run all that for you if you want help with that. Get leads coming in, set consultations, make sales. As soon as you start getting busy, hire a kennel tech, somebody you can trust to like do a lot of the stuff and just watch the dogs when you have to keep going out and doing more sales, right? If that person's picking it up quickly, promote them as you get busier and busier and start to like build out more kennels for you to like take on more dogs, and promote them to being a dog trainer if you feel like they can do that, right? An associate trainer. If they can't, look to hire a trainer, right? Keep that person as a kennel tech. And the main thing I really want to get across to all you guys is like, if you want to grow your business and you want to get to $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, you're not going to be able to do that yourself. What you want to be able to focus on is getting out of the fulfillment. Like, you don't want to have to be the one who has to hold every single leash. Like, you got to hire people to help with that stuff so you can stay in sales and keep selling, right? There's going to be a point where you reach where you're like, hey, I can hire on a salesperson. We're profitable enough to do that. But, you know, it's way easier for you to find somebody who can help you clean kennels and even do some training with dogs. And it's going to be to have somebody who's reliable, who sets appointments, closes, like all that stuff. So you stick in that role. This is the simplest way that I've found to grow your dog training business. So Angel, anything else you want to add to that?
No, not necessarily. I feel like that really covers a lot.
Good. Okay. All right. I'll end with this, like, shameless plug here. There's a lot of people that sometimes will even come to us and be like, hey, what do you guys do? I've seen some of your content. If you want a simple way to book out your dog training business, the way we do it is we primarily focus on in the beginning, getting a really good Google Ads strategy in place. We take care of everything for you. It's all done for you. All you need to do is just answer the phone, set consultations, make sales, and obviously train dogs, but you guys can do that in your sleep. And beyond that, like, I'm not going to try and sell you something you don't need. Like, I think people can have like this hesitancy to talk to a marketing company because they're going to, you know, try and sell them a bunch of bullshit they don't need. It's just not my personality type. If you want a new website, we can talk about that. If you want to do social media ads, we can talk about that. But what I'm going to do is give you the raw, God's honest truth to be like, if you're struggling right now to get business coming in, here's what we're going to do. Here's going to be the most effective way to do this.
Yep.
So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here for the day. This is our second podcast. We each have calls we got to run to here, but I appreciate you guys listening. And as always, if you have a friend who's a dog trainer you think could benefit from listening to this, do us a favor, send an episode over to them, tag them down below in the comments section. And we really appreciate the support, guys. So we will see you guys all very soon in the next one. See you guys.
Bye, guys.